relationship started the beginning of my sophomore year. He was cool. He was a football player. He called a lot, always had to know where I was. At first, you don't think it's control at all. You have someone that cares so much about you, but he wouldn't let me talk to my guy friends. I just didn't need them in my life. He was the guy for me.
Particularly for teenagers and adolescents, love is constructed as, oh wow, look, this person really likes me, they're always walking me home, they want to see me in between classes, we talk on the phone for hours. They think, well, oh, that's so sweet, they're a little jealous, they love me.
If you do feel that you're being controlled or you're beginning to question, am I being controlled? Chances are you probably are. And the thing about how this all works is that control is often the first step into the full-blown elements of dating violence.
I row. I would wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and he knew that, and I would get phone calls from him, and it would say, cut practice today and come over to my house. I would get in trouble if I didn't listen to those text messages. He would get mad at me, so I skipped a good number of practices. He took over pretty much every part of my life.
She's normally a really outgoing, caring kind of person, and she was just becoming more and more withdrawn. And I'm sure it was because of the way he was, verbally abusing her. And also she was ashamed at some level of the relationship she was in and didn't want to tell me. He was taking up more and more of her time, which she doesn't have a lot of since she rose. And she started having less and less self-esteem and caring less about school and about herself and her friends and more about him.
Well, there were 2 physical incidents in our relationship. The first one was at school. He came to school drunk and had a first period prep, so was drinking all the first period. So my best friend went over to him and kind of tapped the bill of his hat and kind of like knocked it, and jokingly, of course. He followed her to her seat and smacked her across the face. So me and my best friend hid from him at break. We were hiding over by my Spanish classroom. He was calling, I wasn't answering, but he somehow figured out that we would be over there and came and found us and then threw me into the locker. I came home with flowers a lot. After every time we fought, he would apologize and buy me flowers and everything would be okay again. I was ignoring him, didn't answer any of the phone calls or the text messages. On AOL, he'd say, I'm so sorry, you know I care about you, I would never hurt you. Please talk to me, I really want to make this work, I care about you so much. So he bought me flowers, he apologized, and we got back together. The control started again, and there was another physical incident. It was a Friday night. We went to a party. He got extremely drunk. Like, I've never seen anyone so drunk in my life. Out of nowhere, he swung his leg up and swung it at me. I flew across the room, hit my head on the wall, and was knocked unconscious. I woke up 6 hours later. He's leaning over me, kind of staring at me. Asked what had happened. They said, you were just shaking, convulsing. We were just trying to calm you down, I didn't know why no one had called the police, but there were drugs and alcohol there, so no one wanted to get in trouble.
So they don't know that it was you.
Everybody had heard their own version of the story. Some people said I pushed myself off the balcony, and that's how I had hurt myself. No one would talk to me. My house got egged 4 weekends in a row. I sat there and had everyone telling me that I had done the wrong thing by sending him to juvenile hall. I overreacted, I could have just broken up with him. The one thing I think throughout my relationship that I wish had been different was if I had had my own friends to begin with that had stuck by my side and been there for me and cared about me. And I know they realized that I wasn't in a good relationship, but I needed them to stay by my side for when I realized it by myself.
My friends stuck with me. They stayed with me the whole time.
It took me a while to be comfortable around anyone. So it was really hard, but it took me a while, but I'm now happy in a relationship, and he treats me really well, and we have a lot of respect for each other, and we love each other, so I'm happy.
Just because you break up with that person doesn't mean that your self-esteem is going to magically come back to the way it was. You're probably going to have to work on that, and that's okay. It doesn't mean that you're not going to be that person you were before. It just means that it's probably going to take some time, depending on how long you were in this unhealthy relationship.